Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Johnny with Johnny's BMW DIYs. Got all kinds of great new content coming out, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see when I post new videos in your inbox. Hopefully this keeps you out of the mechanic shop and keeps your wallet fat. Let's get into this. Hey, this is Johnny with Johnny's BMW DIYs. Today I'm replacing my springs. I do have lowering springs, and they just sit a little too low for the wide wheels that I have. I don't want to do anything dramatic to the body. I just want to have a nice low ride height. These I believe will probably last longer. They're similar ride height than what I originally had with some Manza lowering springs, which were more economical, but maybe they just don't hold their position longer. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to put these H&Rs on, and I've already measured all the distances on a flat surface to make sure to, see if there was an actual lift, because I'm going for a little bit of a lift. It's just chewing up my front tires. To get where I'm at, I loosened the nut for this, popped it out. That's the one below the strut. Loosened the nut for this and got it off. I pulled my wiring because when it leans forward, I pulled it out of the little box back there. When they pull it forward, it gets a little tension on it. And I did pop this loose, but actually it turned out I really didn't need to. I'm just going to put the nut back on it. And then you do have to push down a little bit. Be very careful with your fender because it's going to be a tight squeeze. Keep pushing down on it, and mind your little screws on the top hat of your strut, that they don't mar up the edge of your fender, because it will happen if you're not real careful. You might even want to have a buddy help you. Anyway, so you get it apart like this. I'm going to compress this spring, swap the spring out. There's a million videos on how to do that, but I'm basically just using these type of compression spring compressors. I have it on there just because I shortened the strut a little bit to make it a little bit easier for me to get out. You can also do that. But basically get them both on there. I'm going to take this back off, put it up higher, and I'll do the same on the other side. Then I can loosen the cap. Then I can take the whole spring assembly off, swap the, compress this on the new spring, slide it on, put the cap back on, and then my spring assembly is back together with the new spring. And then I'm just going to slide the strut right back in that hole. There's guides on the strut, you can't go wrong. Again, carefully compress it down a little so that it doesn't hit your fender, and then lay it back, hook up your sway bar, get your wiring back in place, hook up your control arm. I'm using a jack here to maneuver this heavy piece and to make sure it doesn't sag too far to where it's damaging my brake hose and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely want to be cautious of that. So next step is to swap out my spring. Got my strut top off, took my spring off, took my bump stop off. Got the new spring there. I'm going to uncompress this spring, recompress that spring, and slide everything back together. Okay, with them side by side, you can kind of tell they're almost identical on the bottom there, and then the top. This one's really kind of squashed down. That one still has some spring to it, so to speak. So it could be that one just settled, but I'm hoping to get just a little bit more room out of this. It looks like I will. So after doing these springs, the H&R springs, by the way, I'll put a link in the description to where I bought them, just so you know which ones I got. If you want to click on that link, it'll take you right to them. But anyway, the change out definitely made a difference. I can see the top of my tread just slightly, if I will get way down. Before it was buried, so I think I got that extra like little half inch that I needed back for it to be a good ride that isn't always scraping. You can definitely tell here the H&R is going to be a little bit taller spring. And again, I'm going to welcome that because I'm looking for a little bit better ride with the same cool look. And I think this is going to do the perfect trick. Rears, you want to bust these two star socket bits loose to get the shock free of the lower control arm. 21 millimeter over here. Bust that loose, pull that so that all this can drop. You can use a pry bar in there, and just make sure you get all your rubber fittings tucked in. I'll push down on that and get it back in place. It does have a perfect fitting the way it goes on the ends, so make sure the end of your spring lines up with the end of the rubber track. And now I'm going to get a jack. I'm going to guide this back into where it goes on the way up, and guide the bolt through on the way up as well. Get it all buttoned up and go to the other side. As usual, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button for me. I really appreciate your support. There are links in the description for the tools and or products that I used to help you out. And you guys have a good one. See you on the next one.